Hi guys, here's your little how-to on how to put a table into Desmos and then use that to help you get the graphing portion of this. So what you're going to do in Desmos is, if you can see it right here behind my little record button, but up here at the foot, when you go to your Desmos calculator, there's a plus right here. And so you're going to click Add Item. So what you're going to add there is a table. And what that does, let me move myself over here, is it went ahead and popped in a little table for me where I have the X and the Y, X1 and Y1. So I can very quickly just go down through here. This is from the homework on the 14th. So I could enter in the X values. So -5, -1, 0, 3, 5, and 9. And then I can come over here and I can add in the values for the function. So we have 1/3, -7/3, -3, -5, -19/3, and -9. All right, now once I've done that, and you can kind of see here, and you can move around your scale, I can start to see what those data points are going to look like. And so in the activity that you had for this homework were to basically identify what type of function it is. So like, for example, this one very clearly looks like a linear function that you would have. Now, when you take a look at this, there's a couple of different ways that you can algebraically by hand find it. Once you know that this is a linear function, then obviously I have things like, very nicely, this point right here, they gave me the y-intercept. And then of course I can pick any 2 points and calculate the slope. So I could come up with an equation for that. Or I could simply come down here, because a lot of the point of this is learning and working with our technology that we have as well to help investigate these things. I might decide to take my y1 and I'm just going to type y and then a 1 and it automatically goes to that. I'm going to use the tilde, which is up above the tab key. It's over where the numbers are. And then I'm just going to type in, I want this to be a line. So mx1 plus b. And what that does is it does kind of like a regression for us and puts that in. Now that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to find that by hand. But for the investigation purposes that we're going to have, notice that this is helping us out. It's telling me what B is, and you can probably guess that that really means -2/3. So if I were to actually come down here and graph y equals -2/3 x plus, actually -3, since that was my B value, you can see that that lines up there. Now, you may want to think about how would I find this without technology, but the technology is going to help us do these types of problems. And then from here, of course, you had other things that you're going to be working on with this once you get your data and sketch a graph. State as many specific properties, things like, obviously we just found the equation. But again, think about using technology to find it. Think about how to find it by hand, whether you know how to do that or not. Then we're going to give domain and range, discuss the continuity of the graph. Is it continuous? Is it not continuous? Does it have a certain type of discontinuity? You might want to recall the different types that we learned last year in pre-calculus: point, infinite, jump, and then there's oscillating, which you may or may not have learned last year, but that's not in this set of notes. Mostly you're going to look at a jump, an infinite, or a point discontinuity, what kind it is, where do the discontinuities occur, if you have them. Things increasing and decreasing, give intervals of x values for which it increases, intervals of x values for which the function decreases, concave up, concave down. Find your x and your y intercept. If it's not given to you, use the equation that you found to find your x and your y intercept. Do a little algebra. If it has asymptotes, vertical or horizontal, go ahead and put those in. If it has a hole, what's the location of the hole? And extrema, those are your maxes and your mins. So you would write something like max value of blank at x equal to blank. So along those, just a review from last year. So that'll get you started on this homework that we're working on the 14th, I believe, on 9/14, but that's your intro to using tables and DESMOS.